You're listening to
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
the Sports Fellas Podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Andres. We are back with episode number 61 of the Sports Fellas Podcast. And today, along with my co-host Eric. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. You know, last week we talked and I said there was a lot of good things happening for me. They just told me they're taking me off weekends, so I'm very excited about that, you know?
Yes, sir.
Always good to have the weekend off. But
yeah, I remember last week episode I was talking about how good I was doing everything, and then Friday I got in a car crash.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Jesus, bro.
It's not bad. Like, I definitely had the least, like, there was 3 cars involved and mine was by far the least damage, and it wasn't my fault. Like, the dude in the back got the ticket because he hit the middle dude who then pushed him into me. So, like, I don't know. It just, and I was like on my way to pick up my friends from the airport, so it just changed a ton of plans. Yeah, it was a pain. But
bro, I had a dream. I had a dream that I got into a car crash at the exit that I go to the gym, and that morning there was 2 car crashes, and I'm like, yo, I just got like a deja vu. But I ended up going to the gym that day, and I didn't get into a car crash, thankfully. But Eric, today we have a special episode, and with this special episode comes a special guest, my boy Christian. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. I'm having some technical difficulties, but I'm still here. You know, I'm glad to be back.
We love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we did promise you we were going to incorporate something new. We're going to talk about TV shows and movies. But before we do that, Eric and I, we decided we wanted to talk about the NBA MVP. Because like we said last week, there's like 50 candidates. I'm dragging it. There's like 6 or 7. But we wanted to bring on Christian to talk about it because, you know, he wouldn't say he's a show connoisseur, but, you know, he likes his shows, likes his movies. Always good to talk about sports with him. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, Christian, you're the special guest. Eric and I concluded last week there's about 6 players that have a chance to win MVP. Obviously, it's going to come down to 2 or 3 players. But for you right now, if you had a vote after 57 games, who would you say is the MVP?
I would say my MVP as of right now would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I agree with you guys when you say that a good amount of guys have like a chance to, especially now that Embiid is no longer eligible with the new 65 game rule. But I think Shai probably has the best case as of right now. I think he's been like MVP level. I think that the Thunder, if you value this, if you value it, the Thunder are, you know, their top seed. They're doing way better than expected. And I think that as far as offense and defense, he's brought a lot to the table. Like I said, he's played at MVP level.
Christian, so Eric and I, we were talking about this, and we say that the evolution of the MVP has changed. Now, obviously, we're all modern, so we can understand how things change. Would you say this change of MVP of, best player, best team is good or bad for the game?
I'd say it's good. I'd say you always want to put more nuance into awards like these, especially when it's affecting their livelihoods. I think you want to be able to, you know, make sure you're getting the right one. So it should always be a case-by-case basis. It's nice to have, you know, like a thing that you can rely on when it comes to best player, best team. But I don't mind when it goes to, you know, just a different case. Someone who's playing an MVP level, and you find that case for them. And usually the voters seem to agree. Like, it usually ends up being a runaway candidate. I'm not sure if it will be this year, but yeah.
Yeah. Eric, thoughts on the MVP conversation?
I would agree it's Shai probably right now. I think the thing is, though, you can always like make the argument for Jokic because he always just has the stats to back it up, and they're, I think, the 2nd seed right now, if I'm not mistaken. 3rd. Mm-hmm. He's always gonna have the stats. He's putting up like 26, 12, and 9 or something like that. But Shai, I feel like every time you look at the box score, or you look at anything, or you just watch a game, it feels like he doesn't miss. Like, it feels like he just plays so smooth throughout the game. He plays very well in rhythm of the game, and that's one of the reasons I like Kawhi a lot, because he plays, I think, in the rhythm of the game a lot, like smooth throughout it, and that's what Shai does. And I feel like he's very consistent. That's one thing about him, is you very rarely see him have a 30% shooting game, a 8 turnover game, somewhere he just like completely falls apart. Like, he's very consistent, at least positively impacting the game. And like Christian even said, his defense has been pretty good this year. He's looked like a positive on that end, which some other MVP candidates you could maybe not say the same thing. Like Luka. Luka sometimes isn't looking great down there. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say Shea right now, but then you could always also make the arguments for like Giannis and Jokic and even Luka if you want to, except they're like 7 games back of the Thunder, I think, so that makes it maybe a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my thing is, right, like, I think those are the 3 perennial candidates right now, which is sad to say because Giannis is having a fantastic season. You know what I mean? The Bucks are the 3 seed right now, and a lot of people love to say that, because they got Damian Lillard, he should be disqualified. Look at Steph and KD, but we just said it a couple minutes ago, right? Like, the MVP conversation changes every year. The criteria for MVP 2017 or 2006 or 1995 or this year, it all changes, you know? So I don't think Giannis should be hurt just because he has Damian Lillard, right? Obviously, Damian is not playing up to his standards this year compared to previous years. He's been good as of late, but yeah, I mean, I think it falls between those 3 guys right now, right? It could change next week, it could change in 10 days, but if I had to say one, man, I just think, bro, like, Shai's analytics and his advanced stats are ridiculous. Like, his offensive box score is ridiculous. His defensive box score is ridiculous. He's averaging 30 a game on 65% true shooting percentage. But when it comes to Luka, right? I know a lot of people don't like him, say he doesn't play defense, yada, yada, yada. But I was looking at some stats, and Luka is accounting for the most points in NBA history, like, right now. And, excuse me, his teammates have missed like 100+ games. Now, obviously, that's not anyone else's fault that OKC has been healthy or Denver has been healthy. But when you talk about you amount 57.8 points per game, I know they're the 7th seed right now, and they just lost on a Max Strus bullshit buzzer, bro. I don't know what happened right there. That Max Strus buzzer beater was hilarious. But if the Mavericks can get a top 5 seed, like I think they will, I think maybe Luka can get it. But as of right now, I think the voters will vote Shea.
I think Luka is that player that, like, I mean, if you go back, 3 years ago, maybe even 4, everyone was like, oh, this is the year Luka's going to win MVP. Oh, this is the year Luka's going to win MVP. I think this year is the best chance he's had so far, probably. And, I mean, we can say, like, oh, it's not the Thunder's fault, nobody's healthy. But, like, you can still add in that context and say that it does help Luka's case. It might not be something that gives it to him, but it's definitely something noteworthy. Like, if one player is playing with a much more injured team or just a much lesser of a team, then that could play a part, I think. But I think they would have to close the gap a little bit because, like, 7 games is still a pretty big difference. And like Christian said also, Thunder are overachieving right now. Like, we expected them to be good, but we didn't expect them to be this good. So I think because of that, you still have to give it to Shea, but I wouldn't be if Mavs can get a top 5, top 4 seed, like you said, and the game difference isn't substantial, I wouldn't be mad at someone arguing for Luka.
I would agree with that. I had a question for you guys, going back to the expectation thing and going to Giannis. When it comes to like the Bucks and their expectations, I know Dame has been a bit disappointing, but the Bucks defense in general, and then that's a lot where a lot of Giannis's MVP stature comes from is defense, and the Bucks underperforming. I wouldn't say that he's underperforming himself. He's probably been a little bit worse than other years, and that's a given considering his point of attack defenders are Dame and Malik Beasley. But I think that should have to factor into it a little bit. I think that the fact that the Bucks are not doing as well as we thought they would.
Yeah, I think it, bro. But like, how? So Eric and I, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. There's very, very, I'm gonna say a handful of players that can take a game over on defense, and Giannis is one of them, right? So when you talk about the Bucks, if you went down the list 1 through 13, how many good defenders are on that team outside of Giannis? Probably no one. Like Brook Lopez. When did he have his defensive player of the year candidacy? Was that last year or 2 years ago?
It was last year, and I think like 2020
it was a couple of years
as well.
Yeah, it was a couple of years in there where he.
I think he's still pretty good defensively, but he has his limitations too. Like, he's a 37-year-old.
I think he's like 38. Yeah. Yeah.
He's very,
Yeah, but like,
he's very good rim protector. He's great in drop, but that limits your defense a little bit. And I feel like Giannis had to make up a lot more than he had to before as a help defender.
yeah, and then you got guys like Jake Crowder who just came back, but he's not that good on defensively anymore. We know that, but like Giannis has been doing like a lot for this team. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy to say because Giannis had an audible at the All-Star game where he said, "I'm the second oldest player," and he's still not 30 yet. So it speaks volumes as to like the level of the NBA in the Eastern Conference, right? You out west, you had all the old heads, quote unquote, and then in the East, you had Giannis and then Dame, who's turning you had Dame and then Giannis, who's turning 34 in July. So I think Giannis does a lot under the defensive end, and it gets underlooked because of Adrian Griffin, now Doc Rivers. But Giannis is still averaging 34 and 10 on like 65% true shooting percentage. I don't think that should be underlooked. And like the whole voters fatigue thing is also stupid. Like I don't understand. Like Christian, I mean, you know this, right? We have conversation with people, and you'll be like, "Hey, Eric, why do you think Giannis shouldn't win MVP?" And they'll be like, "Oh, voters fatigue." And you're like, "Okay, but he's averaging 35 and 10 on 60. Okay, that's cool. Voters fatigue," and they just disregard you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, people use that as like a blanket statement without knowing what it really means and how often it really like impacts the game or voters in general. I don't think it's that significant.
It's almost never, like very rarely can you look back in history and be like, oh, it might have played a part. Like you could maybe argue LeBron 2011. You could maybe argue one of the MJ years. I can't remember. I think when Karl Malone won or something like that.
98.
But, yeah, there's very few years in there you could argue, but I feel like people, like if Shea won this year, people would point to next year if he wasn't the odds-on favorite. They'd be like, oh, just because of voter fatigue. Like 1 year and people are instantly ready to use that excuse. It's just like, I don't know. It's just it's a cop out. I feel like it's such a pointless way, and it's a way to pretty much not give a basketball reason, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like the same thing happened with Jokic, right? No disrespect to Embiid, right? But last year, people were saying, "Oh, Jokic can't win MVP because Michael Jordan and LeBron didn't win 3 MVPs in a row." And I was just like, but that's not a basketball reason. And Joel Embiid was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, he was fantastic. But like Christian, Eric, and I, we all know people that would say, "Oh, Jokic doesn't deserve MVP because LeBron and MJ didn't 3-peat," and it's just a poor reasoning to not to say that. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was a fair point to bring up the whole voter fatigue discussion. But Christian, so Eric said that this has been Luka's best shot to win MVP. If you were a voter, what does Luka have to do in your eyes for him to get an MVP? Does he have to reach the top 4 seed? Does he have to do more? Like, what do you think Luka can do to edge out Shea? Because I think we all agree that Shea.
I think it's a mix of things. Mavericks getting better would obviously help. I think the defense, as we mentioned, getting that more consistent. I think he's been a little bit better on that end than he was to start the year. Maybe not good still, but definitely has to continue being like passable on that end. And I also think if he, I think, if people aren't a big fan of advanced metrics, but I think it ties into it a little bit. The Mavericks, even having Kyrie this year in past years, have not outperformed teams with him on the court. And then when he's off the court, it's kind of like they don't miss as much of a beat as you think they should. Like, as far as plus minus goes, he's pretty down there compared to the other MVP candidates. So I just want to see him dominate the game when he's on the court. I know that's tougher with worse teammates as well, but I think that if he takes it to that next level a little bit, then that might bring him to MVP level. So he's MVP level, but MVP
candidacy, right? So last week, Eric and I, we said that the Mavericks had the most underrated trade deadline. Would you agree with that?
Oh, would I agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What exactly were the moves they made again?
They had Daniel Gafford and they got PJ Washington, and they traded away Grant Williams.
I definitely think that was one of the best. It wasn't that aggressive of a trade deadline anyway, so that definitely helps their case. And I think that those are moves that, on the margins, that'll help them.
Yeah, they're
I think the thing with them though is I don't know if they scare me that much when it comes in the playoffs, though. Like, I still don't know if they're a team that, like, I would actually fear. Like, I don't even know if I'd see them making it. I wouldn't see them making the conference finals right now. I'd be pretty shocked if they made it that far. They could get out of the first round, but with how it stands now, they'll be playing one of the top seeds. So, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of an uphill battle for them right now.
If OKC plays Dallas right now, who would you take in a series?
OKC.
Oof, without hesitation.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
Dallas
I'd take
could win.
OKC,
You said what?
playoff experience is definitely something that's real. I think it would be a long series, and I think it would probably be OKC just because of home court.
Man, but Shea would need to show up because a lot of people are already kind of crowning him, and Andres, I know, is a big advocate for, like, you have to do something in the playoffs before you get crowned at all, really. And people are already kind of crowning Shea, so he would need to show up for, like, to, like, make this praise, like, concrete before anything crazy gets said. Because, I mean, he's only done, one playoff series, and, I mean, he was young, so I'm not going to...
He's had two, yeah.
Two, but he was young, and then I'm not really going to hold them against him. Like, I'm not going to point to those stats and say, look how bad he was. I feel like that's pointing to, like, sixth man James Harden and kind of, like, I don't know. I feel like it's different stuff, but, like, if he comes out this playoffs and has a pretty underwhelming showing, then I think that's going to be a big talking point over the offseason. I don't think that'll happen.
Definitely,
I think
especially if he wins MVP.
Yeah, if he wins MVP, and I think that's how it is for every MVP, though. Like, you have to show up. Like, that's why every year it's the talking point with Embiid is because he's always, like, an MVP candidate. He's always up there. Same thing with Harden. Always was an MVP candidate, and then sometimes doesn't show up. Embiid sometimes doesn't show up. Like, whenever you don't show up as an MVP or MVP candidate, you're going to get looked at harsher, and you should, because you're in those conversations for a reason, and you're not showing up like you should.
I'm excited, man. We got 25 more games.
It's been a good season. It's been a really good season.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Christian, before we move on to the topic of the night, if you were Adam Silver, right? What would you make the conference finals today? No, I'm just kidding. But in your opinion, what would the 4 teams in the conference finals be right now, as of today?
I'd go really boring. I'd go Clippers, Nuggets, and Celtics, Bucks.
Dude, but, like, I was telling this to Eric, bro. I really can't see the Nuggets not making the conference finals again. Like,
it's hard to discount them, bro. Like, they're just really, like, I don't know. They're a well-oiled machine when they get it all right, and it seems like they're coasting. So until I'm proven wrong in the playoffs, if I'm proven wrong in the playoffs, I will be. But yeah, I see them making the Western Conference Finals and probably the finals as well.
Yeah.
Do you think the Timberwolves or Thunder would be more likely to make the conference finals?
I would go with the Wolves. They have a little bit more experience in that size in the playoffs. People do not people underrate that size in the playoffs. It matters because that court, it shrinks a lot. What they say about the refs, they get a little bit less lenient. So
it's a lot more like gritty. Just like you have to fight for every bucket a lot
exactly.
Yeah, like 90s hoops, baby. Bring that shit back. No more.
Yeah, you see the topic like they're talking about how like
Sorry.
offenses is too easy now. And stuff,
yeah, they're gonna change the rules. They're gonna bend the 3-point line so people can't camp in the corner. Oh, man,
I doubt that's happening, but I do agree that there needs to be something done to give more of an advantage to the defense.
Yeah, I mean, if Allen Iverson played today, he'd average 40 a game. No funny shit.
Those talking points are really funny, man.
Yeah, Eric, what's your conference finals? Because like, I don't want to be boring and say Clippers, Nuggets, and Heat, Celtics, but like, I just feel right now the Nuggets are just a wagon, man. They're really, really good.
I'll be bold on one of them. So on West, I do think I'll go Nuggets, Clippers as well. But on the East, I'll be bold and I'll say Celtics, Knicks.
Bro, the Knicks, when they're healthy, like that 15-game sample size that we got of them healthy, they were really good. They held like 4 opponents to under 100 points. They were all clicking. Mitchell Robinson could come back. But my question is, we know Tibbs will play him, but my question is, as a coach, would you play Mitchell Robinson?
I would. I'd have him come off the bench.
Limited,
because
yeah, not
Hartenstein
like
has been that good in my opinion.
yeah.
But if Mitch comes back like right before the playoffs, ramp him up a little bit, I think he has a lot of value on that team.
Fair.
I will say that is probably more likely to be like a second round matchup though, because I think Knicks are like 3 or 4 games back of the Cavs, and that might be hard to catch up to the Cavs. But I'm not fully bought into the Cavs right now. I do think they're a solid team, but I like if Knicks and Cavs met up in a series, I would probably lean Knicks there.
Christian, so
I mean,
Eric
what was
and
that?
I-
A 4-1 last year?
Yeah.
5-game series. So Eric and I, we were talking about this last year, right? So in the NBA and every sport, every year is in a vacuum, right? But can you say that we can't pick the Cavs because they got punked last year and they have to show us something? What would you say?
I don't think so.
If you wanted that to be your reasoning, I would understand. It wouldn't be mine.
Okay.
I'm mostly going on a year-to-year basis. You know, things like that matter, but I do think that they would run into a lot of the same problems as they had. But I don't think it's a prove it type situation. I think it's a like just play better or play different. You know.
That's fair, because like a lot of people I know, they like to say that. I mean, they did, bro. They got punked last year. Like, there's no other
Can you guys hear me?
adjective. Yeah, you're good. You're good. But moving on to our next topic, we're gonna talk about something different on the Sports Fellas. We're gonna talk about entertainment, and we have our guest Christian. So, Christian, what are your top 5 comfort films? Like, if you're having a bad day, if you're in a bad mood, if you had a tough day at work, you just throw this movie on and you're like, lift me up.
A lift me up movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
Yeah.
It's
That
on my-
I only got like halfway through it the first time watching it because I was like, what is going on? But nah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a very weird movie.
Yeah, but I like it. I mean, I'm sure it's not for a lot of people, but it is a good movie once you actually get through it all and like lock in for it.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of my top comfort movies, just because it's so funny, and then it's kind of odd, so it keeps you like keeps you into it.
What else is on the list?
Going a different way, I'd probably say just a classic Shawshank Redemption.
Oof. Okay.
Dude,
Great.
classic. Isn't it ranked number 1 on like IMDb's movie list or something like that? Like I think IMDb has it number 1.
Yeah, it's just tremendous in my opinion. Like a well-told story, well acted, great actors in it.
Great plot twist too.
Yeah, exactly.
So you like more like kind of dramas maybe as comfort films?
I'd say so. I don't find as much comfort in like
Comedy or something.
oh I'm gonna this is a heartfelt movie.
Yeah.
The ones that give me comfort are the ones that keep me like on my toes, because that's who I am as a movie watcher.
That makes sense.
That's fair. Eric, do you have a list of comfort movies?
Yeah, I wrote it down just like a few. I didn't put like 5 exactly, but I put one. One of them, I'm sure one of y'all seen it, is Kings of Summer. Either of y'all seen that?
Does not ring
What's
a
that
bell.
about?
It's about like these 3 kids, and they kind of. Well, one of them, y'all know Moises Arias?
Yeah, of course, from Hannah Montana.
He plays this weird kid named Biagio. It's one of my favorite characters in anything ever. Like, he's so funny in it. He's just weird. Like, he just says weird stuff throughout the whole movie. But it's about like 2 best friends, and they like are sick of living with their parents, so they go and build a house out in the woods. And then the kid Biagio just like starts hanging out with them and won't leave them alone, kind of. And they can't get him to leave. And then they just kind of go out and live in the woods, and it's just about that kind of. And I don't know. It's a movie that like I can just go throw on a random day and just sit down and watch the whole thing. And it's one of those movies that I'm not big into like rewatching movies constantly. Like I'll watch a movie and then it'll be a little bit till I watch it again. But this is one of the few that I can like I'll watch pretty often because I don't know, it like is very comforting to me. I guess it just sits at home with me kind of, and it's funny. It's like dramatic. It's everything. I don't know. I really like it. Y'all should watch it if y'all get a chance.
I'll add that to the list.
It has Nick Offerman in it. He's like the main kid's dad.
Ah, he's good. He's good. Great actor.
Facts. All right, so I'm gonna start us off with Click, man.
Ooh,
I remember we talked about this not that long ago.
Bro, Click was the first movie that I remembered that made me cry. It was the first movie that I remembered that I rented on Netflix. I said rented on Netflix because Netflix used to be DVDs. That movie, bro, I can throw on that movie anytime, and my mom would be like, "Why are you watching this movie if you know the dialogue to every scene?" And I'm like, "Man, you really would not get it." I love Click. I love Click.
I think I've seen it around like 10 times myself. It's definitely a comfort movie for me too. It's just hilarious and it's a really good concept.
Yeah, when people talk, it's not Adam Sandler's best movie, definitely not top 3, but like, it's a great movie. Another one, I'm gonna keep the comedy route. This guy, he's not a good person. We all know that, but the bench warmers. The bench warmers, man. I've seen it like 50 times. Great movie, hilarious. Like I said, Rob Schneider's not a good person, but the bench warmers is a great movie.
Dude, I haven't seen Benchwarmers in probably like 8 years, 9 years.
Dude,
I need to rewatch that.
I think I gave you my Hulu login to watch Click, right, Eric?
Yeah, it was something like that. Like a long time ago, you gave me that.
I remember that. Another one, Star Wars Episode 3, one of my favorite movies ever.
Star Wars.
Episode 3?
Yeah, it's not the best one. The best one is 5, but Star Wars Episode 3, definitely. Is
it like just the fight scene at the end that kind of?
Yeah, that shit just, bro.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Bro, Anakin just annoys me throughout the whole thing. He pisses me off. Yeah. Even in the second one, he's annoying. I can't stand him.
He's the man.
Am I crazy to say that I've never seen Star Wars?
You've never seen any of them?
None of them, yeah.
I don't think it's crazy. I think sometimes it gets overhyped by certain people. Like, I think they're kind of. I mean, there's too many of them now. I think it's just kind of overplayed. But
yeah, but 7, 8, and 9 don't really get recognized.
Yeah, I would definitely watch like the original trilogy if you ever get the chance, and then this. So it goes like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9. It's kind of like that. But
chronologically, yeah.
Like 1 and like so 4, 5, 6 are all really good. Me and Andres both agree that like 5 is the best one.
Yeah.
1 and 2 are okay, but
they're
3 is as good as the original trilogy in my opinion.
1 and 2, it's not that they're not good, but they don't have a plot to it, Christian. Yeah. Like the final fight in episode 1 is really good, right? But like if you ask someone what's the plot of Star Wars episode 1, they're not gonna know what to say because there's genuinely no plot.
Yeah, and then like 7, 8, 9, like cinematically, they're probably the best, yeah. But like visually they're the best, but the storyline it's kind of up and down on those 3. Like I don't know, it's like sometimes you like I don't remember which one it was. I think it's the last one, 9. Like you're just watching and something entertaining will be happening and you'll be like caught up in it, and then it'll cut to a different thing that you just don't care at all about, and you're just waiting to get back to the other thing. It's that type of stuff where it's like some of the movie is just pretty much filler, and a filler in a movie like that is stupid.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
Another one, any Spider-Man film. My favorite superhero. He's dead ass, genuinely the greatest of all time.
Okay, now, this is a side topic. We gotta talk about that then. Christian, have you seen all the Spider-Mans or what?
I believe so.
I've seen all
the Amazing Spider-Man ones. I've seen all the new ones with Marvel.
Mm-hmm. So who would you say is like the best actor for it? Like who plays him the best?
I'd probably say Tom Holland. Like he's the most fit for it. I don't know if I'd like his movies the best, but I think he's probably the most fit to be a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Man, I will say.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, in No Way Home, I think that's the one with all 3 of them. Andrew Garfield was crazy good in that one.
Bro,
Yeah,
he
was
whooped
tremendous.
everyone's ass.
Yeah,
He's just a phenomenal actor, though.
Yeah, I don't want to say he carried.
Mhm.
He's definitely the best actor of them three. Like when we're just talking pure
Agreed.
acting. But I still feel like, and maybe this is cop out. I don't care. I think the best Spider-Man movies are still the Spider-Verse ones, though. Like they're just those movies are insane.
Oh, I didn't
wrong with
even
that.
think that. I wasn't thinking animated. They're
Yeah,
probably
no.
the best
I
made.
was talking about the original three, but like when we're just talking about all Spider-Man movies, I think the two Spider-Verse ones are the two best. They're both just like the second Spider-Verse movie is probably like if we talk about our top movies later,
Mhm.
it's on my list. Like that's one of my favorite
Mm.
movies ever.
Yeah, I went to see it in theater and I was in shock the whole time, man. It was
Dude,
Bro,
even the
everything
ending-
about it. Everything
like,
about it was so good. No, the
That's what-
ending is terrible, dude.
No, the ending was good.
No,
I
no,
hate
the
when
ending-
people say that.
The ending was really good,
Bro,
but like,
yeah.
bro,
I get it. It was a cliffhanger, but like that's what sets you up for the third one. And also, I like this third one could be an 8 out of 10, and it still would probably be my favorite trilogy ever.
it was really good. Yeah.
Like it's phenomenal.
But non-superhero movie. I'm gonna catch you guys off guard. Catch Me If You Can. The first time I saw
Oh.
Catch Me If You Can, I wanted to rewatch it right there. It was phenomenal.
Nah, I'm about to
Yeah.
watch that tomorrow. Now you got me. I haven't seen that.
Oh,
in
you
a-
definitely have to watch that, Eric.
Yeah, I've seen it before, but I've only seen
Oh.
it one time, so I'm like
Gotcha.
still kind of fuzzy on it. I gotta watch it again because it was really good the first time I watched it.
Yeah, you'll pick up on some details that you missed too. It's
Mhm.
such a well-made movie.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, the inspiration to the name of this podcast, Goodfellas. Bro, the first time I watched Goodfellas, I was with my dad. We watched it together, and I really wanted to rewatch it as well. It was really good. It was really good. I want to give a shout out to Scarface, obviously, great movie, but Goodfellas, I think it was better, honestly.
I got to give a shout to Kicking and Screaming.
It's a
Oh my god, yeah.
Great.
That's one of the ones like for my family. Anytime it's on the TV, we all kind of just stop and start watching it.
I
Yeah,
remember watching it
exactly.
in movie theaters too, man.
Yeah.
Really,
Um,
I don't remember watching that one in theaters, but I remember watching it like over like so many times.
I think it came out in 2007, right? I'm like 99% sure it came out in 2007.
that sounds about right. Or 05, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's 05.
Oh, okay.
See, two other ones I wrote down was one of them was Good Will Hunting, where I could watch Good Will Hunting whenever. I love that movie. That movie, when there's a couple scenes in there that have me going through it, especially now, knowing what we know about Robin Williams and everything, that
Oh,
it makes
yeah.
it even harder. And then another one is just Parent Trap. I love Parent Trap.
Okay, that's a good comfort.
I think that's a great one.
That's another one that like our family, like if it's on, we'll all kind of just stop. and
That's a
watch it.
very feel-good movie, you
It's
know.
a very feel good movie. Yeah.
Before we move on to best five movies that we've seen, one more shout out: 10 Things I Hate About You.
I have that written down also. Yeah. That
Love,
one.
love me a good
That's
rom
pretty
com,
good.
man. Eric, Christian, do you like rom coms?
I do. I love rom-coms.
What's your favorite rom com, Phil?
Oh, I got my answer. If you ask me. Man.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Oof,
That's a good one.
Eric,
Mine's About Time.
yeah,
It's-
bro. About
yeah.
Time is so good.
Yeah. Have you seen that,
That is
Christian?
great. I've seen About Time. That's with Rachel McAdams, right?
Yeah. So
With all,
good.
Rachel McAdams is one hell of a woman and actress.
Tremendous.
All right. Moving on to our third topic. Best 5 movies that we've seen. This could be any genre, anything. Eric, hit me with all 5 of them and your
Oh,
order.
you want to go all 5 or you want to go 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4?
Hit me with all 5 of them. I want to hear all 5.
Okay.
Rapid
5.
fire.
5. I have Boyhood. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that.
Have not
I love
seen
that
it.
movie. Ethan Hawke. I love Ethan Hawke. 4. Where is it? I had Letterboxd up because I was looking through my list. 4. I have Your Name, or I have Spider-Verse, and then
Okay.
the second Spider-Verse, and then I have Your Name, the anime. I don't know if either of y'all really watch anime much.
Does not ring a bell.
I haven't watched that one.
Y'all gotta watch it, bro. It's like a love story. So good, bro. Yeah. Y'all gotta watch that. I think it's like the highest. It's either first or second highest grossing
Mhm.
anime movie ever.
Crazy.
And then second, I have City of God. That movie.
Ooh,
Oh, I love that movie. And then
wow,
first,
that's
I
a
have
great pick.
Moonlight.
That you have said a lot of times that Moonlight is your favorite movie.
Yeah, I love Moonlight. Like that is one that like sucks me in every time. I love that. But that's one of those ones where like it's my favorite movie ever, but I don't like watching it like too often. It's kind of one of those ones where I have to like sit down and kind of just like get absorbed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Christian, do you want me to go or do you want to go? It doesn't matter to me.
You can go first.
Okay. All right. Top 5 movies that I have seen. No order. Are we ready? We're going to start us off. Interstellar. Bro.
That's
Interstellar, visually, the music for it. Matthew McConaughey. I have 0 bad things to say about this movie. Is it Christopher Nolan's best? That's a debate for another day. Dude, we can make a whole episode dedicated to Christopher Nolan movies.
I think it is.
Next, it's already mentioned, but Shawshank Redemption. Like, bro, the storytelling in this movie, the plot twist, the acting, the end of the movie, everything was phenomenal. Number 3, Parasite.
I knew that was coming.
You stole one off my list.
I knew that was coming.
Number 4, Heat. 3 hours. I don't care. That movie was phenomenal. The bank scene is one of the best scenes ever. Bro, it's Robert De Niro and Al Pacino together. You have to watch it.
I'll check it out.
Number 5, Prisoners.
Oh, yeah, that's up there.
Dude, you stole another one off my list.
That's up there for me. I love Prisoners.
Honorary mention, the Social Network, bro. The Social Network was so good that I had a Facebook post from 12 years ago that come up in my memories. I have not seen Christian, don't kill me. I have not seen No Country for Old Men.
Oh.
And I have not seen The Godfather, sadly.
Okay, that's fair.
So good.
Well, starting it off, you crossed off a good amount of my list. Not gonna lie, you know my number. well, let's go with 5. 5, I'm probably gonna go with Shawshank.
Okay.
4, I think I would probably go with Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
3, I would go with Prisoners.
Bro, what a movie.
That movie threw me off whenever I was watching. That movie spun my head around. Like oh my god.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to change it now. 2, I'm gonna go with The Notebook.
Oh, that is a great shout.
Yeah.
And you know my number 1 is No Country for Old Men. So
I knew it. That's why I wrote it down, because if you follow Christian on Twitter, that's literally his header.
Man, I think that's like one of the best movies ever made. Like number 1, man. I could watch it anytime. I think it's a perfect plot, perfectly acted, like everything about it, like the action, the effects.
So you're saying I have to watch it tomorrow? You're saying I have to watch it tomorrow?
I think so. I think it's worth it.
All right, I'm gonna put it to the top of the list. Like, bro, there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen yet, like Pulp Fiction. I know a lot of people love that movie. Is that the one where there's like 3 storytelling, right? Like 3 parts? Is it that one? Or is that?
Yeah,
I think that's something different because Pulp Fiction is kind of like doesn't really have.
Well, that's kind of his style. Is he always has movies like that kind of Quentin Tarantino, but like I don't know. Like, have you ever seen Reservoir Dogs by him?
I have.
It's on the list.
I
need to get into Quentin Tarantino's work. Have you guys seen 2001: A Space Odyssey? I know a lot of
people. I haven't, but I heard people say
it's close to my top list probably. Like that movie. There's a lot. Like there's the top 5 for me is probably pretty like hard to get into, but like that's 6 through 10. There's so many movies I could probably fit in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's super
like 2001: Space Odyssey's up there, Shawshank's up there, No Country for Old. Yeah, there's a lot that could go up there. Prisoners is in there for sure.
Bro, it's not in the top like 5 or 6, but Nightcrawler, bro, like Jake Gyllenhaal is just a phenomenal actor, man. Nightcrawler was really good.
Yeah,
I like Nightcrawler. But last but not least, top 5 favorite TV shows. Wow.
Oh Jesus.
All right, I'll start us off because my list is not going to be the same as everyone else's. I'm going to start us off strong. Ted Lasso.
Ooh.
Ted Lasso had everything to me. Comedy, good storytelling, good acting, everything. Obviously, I don't care what people say. This is a bandwagon one. Breaking Bad. Like you can't say like if you see Breaking Bad, there's no way it's not in your top 5 TV shows. Better Call Saul. Obviously, the storytelling was amazing.
Mhm.
I threw a curveball. 2.5 Men.
Ooh.
I was not expecting that from you. I've never heard you talk about 2.5 Men.
2.5 Men was phenomenal.
I watched it on TV reruns a couple times. It was good, but I never really got into it that much.
It was on Peacock, and that's where I rewatched it, even with Ashton Kutcher. And last but not least, Christian, I'm sorry for taking this off your list. Malcolm in the Middle.
That's on my list.
That would have been up there for me.
That's on my list.
Malcolm in the Middle. I want to give a special shout out to George Lopez, obviously. Arrow was great. I have not finished Succession or The Wire, sadly. I didn't want to put it on the list because I have not finished them. I'm not one of those people that just bandwagon shows just to bandwagon them. I have not finished Succession or The Wire. But yeah, that's my list. I love Ted Lasso, man. Eric, you and I, we talk about Ted Lasso all the time. Ted Lasso is phenomenal.
That movie, that show, man, it does kind of have everything. I will say the one thing that does kind of suck is I feel like the third season, it was good, but there's some episodes where I'm kind of like, nothing happened in this episode really.
That's
like
fair.
The first season was like peak TV. Second season was really, really solid, and then third season, it ended really well, and it had a few really good episodes sprinkled in, but overall, it was definitely the weakest of them.
Yeah. Christian, your thoughts?
My top 5. All right, so let's go The Office at 5.
Okay.
Game of Thrones at 4, even if it did disappoint at the end.
Was it okay? I've never watched Game of Thrones. Is the ending really that disappointing? Because I wanted to start it.
Yeah, everyone agrees it was bad. That's why I want to ask.
Damn.
It was a really, really bad ending, and even the 7th season was not good. Looking back at it, because so much that they did in that season, like, was dependent on the 8th season being good, and it was just not. So,
well, like the first 6 seasons, it must have been insane because everyone talks about that show being one of the best shows ever. Like, that's crazy.
Is it on Max? I think it's on Max, right?
Yeah, it's on Max.
Yeah.
And so was the sort of prequel to it, House of the Dragons.
Yeah, I heard season 2 is coming out in June.
And so, okay, so I said 5 Office, 4 Game of Thrones, 3, I'll go with Ozark.
Oof, that is a great shout that I did not think about.
Love Ozark, man.
Man. The ending was good too. I would say.
I'd say so. 2, this one's tough. Yeah, so my top 2, I think, would be Prison Break, even though it kind of fell off after like the 2nd season a little bit. The first season was one of the greatest, and the 2nd season,
I heard that too, bro. I feel like a lot of people share that opinion.
But I felt like the first season was just so strong. It's like you don't have to judge every season equally.
Okay.
And I felt like it was still watchable, and it was only 5 seasons, I guess, now. But I didn't really pay attention to the most recent season.
And number one
would be the obvious Breaking Bad. Like,
yeah,
by far my favorite show. I would have Better Call Saul top 5 too, but I wanted to be fair to other universes.
That's fair. Is there a show, Christian, that you want to give a special shout to that did not make your list?
Definitely Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm. Yo, yeah. Eric, whenever we talk about Malcolm in the Middle, I text Christian about it, and bro, it's just so funny because like we're so locked in on Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, man. That's definitely a comfort show too. Like if I feel like I'm just bored and don't have anything to watch, I'll cut one of those episodes on. I can turn on any season.
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle is in my top 5. It is number 5 for me because
what a way to start us off. Okay,
that was the show. Like growing up, me and my brother, so we would wake up at like 5:45, 6 to get ready for school in the morning, and we would, like, while we're eating breakfast or just getting ready, we would throw on an episode of Malcolm in the Middle while we were like just doing that, and that's why we would be running late some days, is because we'd be sitting there watching it too much.
You know what I would be watching at 6 in the morning?
What?
Mike in the morning.
Yeah, Sports Center. I mean, shit. I remember seeing one kid. He like, whenever I was in like junior high with him, he said that his favorite show was Sports Center, and I'm like, I feel like that's such a weird show to say is your favorite show, though. Like, I feel like it's a weird thing. I don't know.
Bro, the not top 10 on Fridays, you had to be there.
Damn, this is tough. I had my list. I accidentally deleted it, so I'm trying to remember it. Number 4, probably Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, like season 1, like I said, was probably one of my favorite like things I've ever watched, just show wise. Like it was so good. Number 3, I would probably have Breaking Bad. I didn't watch it when it came out, so I didn't really catch that storm. Like I watched it after it was all the way out and kind of binged it. So, but I mean, still one of the best shows ever. Number 2, I have Friday Night Lights. That show,
Good show.
yeah, that one. All 5 seasons, like except for season 2. Season 2 was kind of, but like in season 4, he goes to a different school, and I remember thinking that it was gonna be awful and it was gonna ruin the whole show. Still insane. And then number 1, I have
Blue Mountain State.
No, I'm kidding. I got How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother is always gonna be my number 1.
How I Met Your Mother. I would have guessed that, honestly.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother is always gonna be my number 1. That is my like. I don't usually go and just throw on the same show. I like watching different stuff, but How I Met Your Mother is the one show that, like, if I'm gonna throw something on to have on in the background, it's gonna be that.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe I didn't think about Ozark, man. Oh my god, bro.
Love that show.
Bro.
And it's kind of like a knockoff Breaking Bad, but it's still so good.
You would have never guessed that from the actor that plays the main character, because like bro, when I saw him, I'm like, the guy from Horrible Bosses is the main guy here. I was like, what the hell? Bro,
that's another comfort movie of mine, by the way. Horrible Bosses and Horrible Bosses 2.
Horrible Bosses is hilarious. Yeah.
Horrible Bosses is a phenomenal comedy. Bro, and when it comes to Christian, I tweeted about this the other day, right? But bro, have you ever thought about the concept that goes into directing a movie, getting the right actors, the storytelling, the producing? Like, it's such a foreign concept to me.
Yeah, it's like an art form, man.
I appreciate it so much, bro.
Yeah, that's why they get paid the big bucks, you know, just seeing who would have on screen chemistry, you know, knowing who exactly is hot at that time. It's a tough thing to do, and they knock it out the park a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna name 3 specific examples. This could be bandwagon-ish. It doesn't matter to me. Heath Ledger, right? Heath Ledger did 10 things that I hate about you, and then he went on to become the Joker. And you're just like, I'm sure we didn't have social media back then, obviously, but I'm sure when Heath Ledger was announced, people were like, this guy's gonna be the Joker? What the hell? Number 2, obviously, Bryan Cranston. He went from Malcolm in the Middle to a drug lord. Like, what the hell kind of transition is that, bro? And then number 3, Robert Pattinson, right? When he came out as the Batman, a lot of people were upset with him being the Batman. I remember that clearly. And he turned out to be one of the best ones, if not the best one. So those are 3 specific examples of what's that called? Actor casting, right?
They're not typecast.
Yeah, not typecast. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Some actors like Vince Vaughn, I feel like he's one of those typecast ones. Like he plays the same role, like Owen Wilson kind of plays the same role a lot. But like,
bro, Owen Wilson, yes, bro. Bro, what's
y'all seen that compilation of him just going, wow.
Have you seen Drobit Taylor? Horrible movie, but that's just hilarious.
That movie's hilarious to me.
It's really bad, but it's like so bad it's good.
Yeah, 100%.
I've watched it a couple times for sure.
Same. We own that. That was one of those movies like in my mom's like Suburban. We had on the little DVD player in the back. That was one of the ones we would throw on.
Yeah, because it went straight to like $5 DVD.
Yeah. For good reason.
I think everybody had it.
Hoorah. Bro, with Josh Peck, and then at the end he's like, I'm 17. I think
that was one of his first roles where he had lost weight, right?
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Bro, speaking of that, Jonah Hill, man. Jonah Hill's best movie is probably what's the name of the movie?
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes, Wolf of Wall Street is great, bro. But when it comes to comedies, he was great on 21 Jump Street, but dude, on Superbad, he was hilarious.
Yeah, he was top tier.
He was hilarious.
I think he's another great actor. I think another adding to the not typecast would be Paul Dano. He's
a
great actor in like different roles.
Yeah.
He's done different things over the years too. Like he was in Little Miss Sunshine. Then
I
he was in
love
Prisoner.
Little Miss Sunshine, dude. That movie's so good.
Yeah, that one's tremendous. And he was in There Will Be Blood as well. That's another great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing actors like that with like a ton of range, like because you never know what their next movie's gonna be. Like it could be anything.
Exactly.
Bro, I love my brother. He's the person I look up to. When I watch a movie with him, bro, he's like, "Oh, that's the guy from blank. Oh, that's the guy from blank." And I'm like, "Yo, can I watch the movie in peace?" No, but like, it's so funny, right? When you think about this. Like yesterday, I watched Dune Part 1, and it was it was Aquaman, and I'm like, oh look, it's the guy from Fast and Furious. And then it was Zendaya, and I'm like, oh look, it's the guy from Euphoria. It's the girl from Euphoria. And I was just like, I miss my brother. So like, it was just like hilarious to point that out, you know. And oh, Batista, I'm like, oh, it's the guy from Spectre and the guy from the WWE. So like,
yeah, exactly.
Yo, Batista has range, man. He's in a lot of great movies.
He's better than The Rock.
Man, I heard that Knock at the Cabin movie was kind of underwhelming. Have either of y'all seen that?
I haven't seen it.
It was like one of the recent movies he came out. I think it was called Knock at the Cabin. It was like a movie he came out with recently, and the trailer made it look so fascinating, but then like the reviews started coming out about it, and it apparently wasn't all that.
Oh yeah, that's that M. Night movie. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. I could be wrong, but bro, have y'all seen Old?
I have. That was not very good.
That movie was. I don't know how to describe that movie.
Like I pretty much fell asleep on it because I watched it on a plane.
We watched it in theaters. We were like, we knew it wouldn't be that good. You could just kind of tell by the trailer and everything. So we were like, we'll go in and have a good time. We were like at serious moments when you're supposed to be like, oh my god, we were kind of just laughing. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm not gonna say it's like the worst movie ever.
It wasn't the worst.
Like the concept is kind of fascinating, but it's like, I don't know. There are some moments where you're just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on?
It was kind of poorly executed. It was a little bit corny too, like a lot of the lines.
That's just kind of his movies, though. That's what I'll say. Oh, another movie or another show I'm gonna throw out. There's two shows actually I want to throw out. One of them, 11/22/63. Have y'all ever seen that? It's like a mini series. It's based on a book by Stephen King, and
we love you, Stephen King.
It's about like James Franco plays the main character, and he like goes back in time, and his job is pretty much like he goes back, and every time he goes back in time, it takes him exactly to the same moment, like October 11th, 1960, the exact same moment every single time. And when he goes back to real time, only 2 minutes have passed, no matter how long he spends there. And his friend wants him to go back in time and live 3 years in the past and stop the assassination of JFK.
What the?
And it's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, so 11/22/63 is the date that he got it.
Yeah, 11/22/63 is the date he gets assassinated.
Yeah,
he gets sent back in 1960, so he has to live 3 years in the past.
Jesus.
It's so fascinating, and it talks about how like whenever he's doing something that might affect the past, like it changes what really happened. The past like pushes back on him and tries to stop him from changing it. And it's so fascinating. Y'all should watch it if you get a chance.
I would do that to
8 episodes.
Oh, it says it's on Hulu as well. I might have to give that a chance.
Yeah. And then also there's another one that I doubt either of y'all will ever watch this, but I just ran a marathon like 8 days ago, my first ever marathon, and one of the shows I watched. Appreciate it. One of the shows I watched was one my brother showed me, and it's an animated show, and it's about like this guy. It's called Run with the Wind, and it's about this guy, and he like is on the run team, and all the housing on campus is taken up, and there's like these 9 guys that need housing. So he's pretty much like, oh, come stay at this house, come stay at this house. And then once he tricks them all into staying on the house, he goes, well, now you're on the run team because this is the run house, and if you live here, you're forced to be on the team. And so he pretty much tricked them all into being on a team. And it's about them trying to go on and like win this competition. And none of them want to run. All of them hate it. It's kind of about like their journey to getting better. It was the most like motivational show to watch getting ready for the marathon. I'm not going to lie. Like the music from that, it's all Japanese music and stuff. Music from that I listened to throughout almost all the marathon. That's so good.
All right. Before we go, I got a curveball. Christian, your favorite horror film?
Hereditary.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Hereditary, actually, it's a tie. Hereditary and Sinister.
Oof. Eric?
Mine's probably Hereditary. Ooh, I don't know. I'll go Hereditary for now. I would need to think about it more, but Hereditary is definitely up there.
All right, Blair Witch Project or Wreck. Wreck was the
Never
first
seen
one,
Wreck.
bro. Wreck is like Paranormal Activity, but like on steroids.
I've only seen half of one of the Paranormal Activities, and I could.
The
not
first
get
movie
into it.
the first movie is phenomenal. The first one is
I could
phenomenal.
not get into. Well, I don't know which one I saw, but I was just like, what is the point of this? Maybe I was watching the worst one, and it just happened to be that. But I'll watch the first one and see, because whatever I was watching, it felt like terrible acting, terrible everything.
And I asked this to Christian already, Eric. So I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Best, not favorite, best Leonardo DiCaprio performance.
Oh my God! Hold on, let me pull up all of his movies just so I make sure I'm not forgetting. Give me a sec.
That's such a tough one.
Yeah, because he has so many. Oh my God! Hold on.
Bro, I can't believe it took him so long to win an Oscar.
Shutter Island's up there.
We said Shutter Island. Christian and I were talking about Shutter Island.
Inception's up there.
Bro,
I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet, but my friend hyped it up to the moon, so I really want to watch it.
it's on Apple TV if you have Apple TV.
Yeah, I watched it recently. I thought it was pretty good.
I'll go Shutter Island.
All right.
That movie is insane. He has so many. Man, he is so good.
Bro, Eric, tomorrow, if you can't watch Catch Me If You Can, like, it's so good, man. It's so good.
Oh, I mean, shit. Tomorrow at work, I'm gonna be chilling. So
we all have something to watch. I have to watch No Country for Old Men. Eric has to watch. Catch Me If You Can. Man, this was a really great episode. Christian, thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing this, bro.
Of course. Thank you guys as always for having me.
Yeah, this was phenomenal. But like, share, comment, subscribe. One more thing before we go. Christian, who's winning the NBA title?
Celtics.
Oof. Eric?
Clippers.
I'm gonna double down and stay with the Clippers. I can't turn my back now. I've been talking shit for like 2 months now. You can't stay like this. But like, share, comment, subscribe. Episode 61 of the Sports Fellas podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.